These are the most heavily protected black pastors in the world. Black pastors are one of the richest people in the world, so rich that it's a threat to their safety. So it's only right that they're protected, and some of them are so heavily protected you would think they're more important than presidents. Here are 10 of the most protected black pastors. Number 10. Shepherd Bushiri. Starting the list is Shepherd Bushiri, who is so influential that his fame is detrimental to his safety. Pastor of the non-denominational church, the Enlightened Christian Gathering based in Malawi, Shepherd Bushiri is one of the younger pastors on our list, so he's also one of the busier pastors in this video. He has dabbled into business as well, and some people may even know him more as a businessman than a preacher. He has an international investment company. He has been involved in agricultural trade in his country as well. And it's hard to tell if clergy work is a career he has on the side if that's his main job. But either way, he's just as fervent of a pastor as he is as a businessman. He has claimed that he has cured HIV before and performed many other miracles. And this has earned him a rather notorious reputation, one befitting of the type of bodyguards he walks around with. Shepherd Bushiri prefers his bodyguards dressed in suits almost as if they are a secret service team. But it doesn't stop there, they also surround his motorcade at special events, and traffic wardens even join in to make sure that nobody is in a 5-meter radius of his vehicle. And in some cases, he can even be seen with what appears to be armed military personnel as well. But you can never be too sure when it comes to security issues, and it's most likely that Shepherd Bushiri just doesn't want to take his chances, and for a good reason too. He is one of the more polarizing young religious figures there are in the world. With cases of fraud, tax evasion, infidelity, and assault charges, there are plenty of people who perhaps don't wish well on the Malawi preacher, and he's not ready to find out just how much he's disliked. His security detail is so hefty that it has even led to people publicly criticizing him and calling it unnecessarily grand. He has defended himself, stating he does need this protection, and for a man who was once banned from the country of Botswana, he may be right. But this next black pastor proves that even as a pacifist, you still need security just in case. Number 9. Duncan Williams. Independent charismatic preacher Archbishop Duncan Williams has been a well-known figure in Ghanaian ministry for decades and is considered the most revered pastor in the country. As the head of the Action Chapel International Ministry, he has played a significant role in shaping the lives of numerous believers and has even mentored other prominent pastors, such as preacher Paula White. Throughout his years as a preacher, one might expect that his outspoken nature and firm convictions would have stirred up substantial criticism or opposition. However, apart from a few traditional rulers who are less supportive of Christian influence, he has managed to avoid major public backlash. This is a testament to his respected reputation and his careful approach to leadership, even though he understands that there will always be individuals who may oppose him despite his good intentions. Given his influence, Archbishop Duncan Williams ensures he has an appropriate level of security. While this might seem excessive for a typical pastor, it's essential for someone of his stature. When he's preaching, his security team stands close by, dressed formally and ready to step in if needed. This visible security detail provides peace of mind, not just for him, but also for his congregation, allowing him to focus fully on delivering his message. In addition to his pastoral duties, Bishop Duncan Williams is deeply involved in philanthropic efforts, often visiting communities and supporting various causes. During these visits, he is always accompanied by a team that ensures his safety, allowing him to carry out his charitable work without concern for his well-being. This setup reflects both his responsibility as a high-profile figure and his dedication to his mission. Do you think all pastors need this level of protection? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Number 8. Wubert Angel. Wubert Angel Modzanayer is the presiding minister of Spirit Embassy in the UK, but alongside his ministerial work, he also holds a degree in education and a master's in entrepreneurship. His work as a preacher hasn't stopped him from putting his education to good use. He is the owner of multiple businesses, including a high-end concierge service provider in the UK called Club Millionaire Limited, as well as Sam Barkley Construction, a subsidiary of his parent company, Angel Organization. These businesses add significantly to his influence and wealth, setting him apart from many others in his field. But his status doesn't stop there. He has been appointed as Zimbabwe's ambassador for interfaith dialogue and humanitarian affairs at the African Union. So even if he wanted to live a modest life as a pastor, his roles as a businessman and political figure mean he needs the best security available. That's why he frequently travels by helicopter and is always accompanied by a security detail of at least 4 bodyguards. Given his extensive travel schedule to oversee his various business ventures, his security is a crucial aspect of his daily life. With such a well-organized security detail, he rarely has to worry about feeling threatened or navigating large crowds, allowing him to focus on his responsibilities across his businesses, ministry, and diplomatic duties. Number 7. Alph Lukau. Alph Lukau is a renowned man of God from South Africa who pastors the church Alleluia Ministries International, which he also founded. He also authored several books about the Christian faith and is more famous for the various miracles he has performed, which include freeing people from curses, healing ailments, and even apparently raising people from the dead. It's not hard to tell how charismatic and popular he has gotten because of his ministerial work, and it would be such a shame to have anything terrible happen to him. And as much as he's a spiritually oriented person, his physical security might be even more sturdy. When he's preaching, there's always a wall of men in suits in front of the congregation, and when he moves into the congregation to lay hands on them, he's always encircled by a team of bodyguards who are always on high alert. When he's traveling, he moves in a motorcade that features 7 police bikes, 2 Rolls of Royce, and 4 SUVs. And for extra precaution, the road he follows is always scouted for any possible threats, so they can be handled or an alternative route can be found. On some occasions, even the state police join in to form part of his security detail, making his car inaccessible and untouchable. His entourage may feature men in suits, but don't be fooled, they have military training and expertise. And nothing about his security staff says mediocre. I mean, how could a man who has his country's president sitting at the front row of his church not have security that is similar to his? And the more grand the occasion Alph Lukau has to attend, the more mightier the security he brings with him is. High stakes do come with high risks, don't they? Number 6. T.D. Jakes. T.D. Jakes is one of the most famous pastors in North America, with his ministry, the Potter's House, having local congregations in the thousands, but an audience in the millions when you factor in their aired program. His work in Christian film and media also makes his reach even greater. This elevates his status from a pastor of a megachurch to a celebrity pastor, having shared the stage with plenty of other high-tier celebrities like Oprah, Steve Harvey, Tyler Perry, and so on. This makes him a household name himself. While being a celebrity is polarizing enough, being a clergyman makes everything he says and does get more scrutiny than is needed. So for security purposes, T.D. Jakes doesn't move without proper security. There are always big, hefty bodyguards who walk with him, and they know how friendly he is and how much he likes to take pictures with people and interact with them. But at the slightest sign of anything fishy, they would most definitely spring into action. And given how intimidating but well-blended his bodyguards look, people know better than to try anything funny with him. And given how his church is located in a city where church shootings have occurred before, T.D. Jakes has a team to make sure that doesn't happen at Potter's House. While Pastor T.D. Jakes' team is prepared for the worst, this pastor's security is so tight it makes you wonder if the worst is prepared for them. Number 5. Prophet David Owuor. Prophet David Owuor is a Kenyan minister who started his ministry in the streets of Nakuru town. It wasn't all glitz and glam, and in his early pastoral days, he didn't have the aesthetic that most upcoming churches had. He was often clowned for the oversized suits he wore, and he focused more on preaching repentance than prosperity. But when his ministry started growing at an unprecedented rate, his growth was also almost unrecognizable. He is undeniably the biggest pastor in Kenya with multitudes in his congregation, He has even baptized and given spiritual counseling to high-ranking government officials, as well as gone on various crusades locally and worldwide. With that level of status, power, and influence, he has been gifted luxurious cars, and the Kenyan government even pays for helicopter flights for him. He is indeed a national treasure, and one that has to be protected at all costs. When he's on the road, his motorcade features over 24 vehicles, with motorbikes ahead and behind him, with plenty of vans and police vehicles between him. There are plenty of celebrities and even presidents of nations that don't even travel with that much company. When he gets to events, he can be seen with not just bodyguards, but military personnel, armed with guns and combat gear. This lets the public know that Prophet David Awor is someone you don't want to harm, and for your good. This next pastor had someone try to harm him, and you won't believe how his security team reacted. Number 4. Matthew Ashimolowo. Matthew Ashimolowo, the renowned senior pastor of Kingsway International Christian Center, KICC, commands a global following that extends far beyond the confines of London. This global recognition, coupled with his influential position, inevitably makes Pastor Ashimolowo a prominent figure who could be susceptible to various forms of harassment or even targeted attacks. Recognizing this inherent vulnerability, particularly during his frequent travels, Pastor Ashimolowo has taken meticulous precautions to ensure his safety. He eschews commercial flights, opting instead for the privacy and security afforded by private jet travel. Upon arrival at any airport or hangar, a dedicated security detail is on hand to escort him to his destination, minimizing exposure to potential threats. Given his extensive travel schedule, which often involves attending international summits, Christian events, and other engagements, Pastor Ashimolowo's security protocol is paramount. Whether he is a keynote speaker, a guest of honor, or simply a participant, his safety is always a top priority. To further enhance his security, Pastor Ashimolowo typically employs 2 distinct security teams. One team is responsible for transporting him to his destination, while the other awaits his arrival, ensuring a seamless transition and minimizing any potential security breaches. This division of labor allows for specialized expertise, as one team may be more familiar with the local environment than the other. The serene expression on Pastor Ashimolowo's face is a testament to the effectiveness of his security measures. Confident in the capabilities of his dedicated security team, he can focus on his ministry and philanthropic endeavors without undue concern for his safety. But this next black pastor is so important he shares the same space as politicians and heads of state, so you can only imagine how heavily protected he must be. Number 3. David Oyedepo. Bishop David Oyedepo is one of the most revered men of God on the planet, having been in ministry for over 40 years with his church Living Faith Church worldwide, has over 300 branches worldwide across 4 continents. His church is the organizer of the popular annual prayer program called Shiloh. He has authored numerous books and done many philanthropic works, so much so that he has changed millions of lives. But at his level of fame and influence, his safety is in jeopardy by fanatics and anti-religious people, and it is for this very reason that he has the type of security he has. Every time he's preaching in church or an event, he is surrounded by a team of up to 9 able-bodied security men who surround him like an impenetrable fortress, making him almost unreachable. In late 2021, this security was put to the test when a man from the congregation attempted to reach out to Bishop Oyedepo as he was preaching. Before it could even register to him what was going on, his security team had neutralized the man, and Bishop Oyedepo was already safe before he even knew he was in trouble. The quickness and alertness of the men in suits who surround him rival the security detail of even heads of state. And although they don't carry weapons, that doesn't mean they are any less lethal or won't use necessary force to protect Bishop Oyedepo. And ever since then, the head pastor of Living Faith has been seen traveling with tighter security. And this next pastor is a good friend of Bishop Oyedepo, so it only makes sense that they have a similar security detail. Number 2, Adeboye. Not many men of God can share the pulpit with Pastor Adeboye, the current general overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. His early days of ministry date as far back as the 1970s, and when he knew his ministry was getting serious, he decided to leave his career in academics to preach full-time. With numerous publications and as overseer of one of the biggest churches in Nigeria, he has been seen as one of the most prominent religious figures, not only in Nigeria, but in the African continent as well. And it's for the reason that he is one of the most heavily protected black pastors in the world. Aside from his luxurious rides, all his flights are charted with security waiting for him before he sets foot where he lands. If he was to drive to where he's going, not only is there a convoy, but there's also about a dozen men in suits waiting for him at the location of where he's attending. Because to them, if Adeboye feels even in the slightest less than safe, it's a failure. Pastor Adeboye has also embarked on diplomatic talks, and when he goes on trips like that, his security detail is beefed up even further.
ADC.
Back in 2015, when he met with former Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari, Pastor Adeboye even rode with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. Because he has never faced a threat to his life ever since he became the figurehead that he is known to be, means that his security is doing a very exceptional job. If you think Adeboye's security team is the best in the world, then you perhaps haven't seen this next pastor's bodyguards. Number 1. Paul Eneche. But when it comes to security and being heavily protected, leave it to Pastor Dr. Paul Eneche. Aside from his profession in medicine, Dr. Paul Eneche saw it wasn't enough to just heal people medically, but spiritually as well. During his undergraduate days, he was inspired to go into ministry. Fast forward a few decades later, he's pastor of Dunamis, one of the biggest churches in the world, and for this reason, he can't travel or move like he's a nobody. He has so many bodyguards that it's almost as if his bodyguards have bodyguards. What lets you know that his security team is super efficient is the fact that you never see a crowd between Pastor Eneche's security and their immediate environment, which means their logistics is top-notch. When he's traveling by road, there are at least a pair of security vehicles with armed guards in them, several SUVs with one of them carrying the man of God. And when he steps out, you just know that he isn't just surrounded by angels, but a very comprehensive team of guards. He is so confident in his security that he's not afraid to go to rural places to preach the gospel. And in such environments, his security detail does look a little different compared to when he's in an urban setting, as he can be seen with security men with assault rifles when he's in such an environment. But it's not just Pastor Enoch that needs protection, it's his property as well. When he's at an airport, each bag of his luggage is handled by a member of his detail. Because it's not enough to just be safe, he needs to be comfortable knowing he doesn't have to worry about anything. Now, we know how these black pastors are protected, but we didn't cover how they got rich in the first place. Curious about it? Watch this next video right here. Thanks for watching.